Hi and welcome to my review of the HP Omen 16. I am not sponsored in any way, so expect my honest opinion on that. I got the 250 nits display version with 1080p IPS, and the brightness is okay for indoors. I will test outdoors too in a moment, so stay tuned for that. And the HP Omen 16 got this 250 nit screen, and it's okay from colors. The colors are not the very best, but you can live with it. And I'll show you on the desktop how to calibrate it, so to say. It's not a real calibration, but you can change settings in the Radeon menu. And for the screen itself, it's real light to open, and you can push it back to 180 degrees. Okay, that was energy options, so no problem. We can do this. Yeah, it's got a 4-zone RGB array, and I've set the colors to blue, red, white and yellow. We can look at it at the Omen app. The Omen app is really nice. I'll show you later on in this review. What we got for I/O, we got one USB-A. Okay, it's a little bit dark, but maybe we'll see. We got the LAN port, RJ45. We got vents here, which are really powerful. I'll show you later on. Here is power. Here is HDMI, USB-A and USB-C. So what we got in the back. We got nothing but air ventilation. Here are the air vents. This seems blocked, I'm not sure about that. And on the back we got the top plastics, I guess it is. Maybe this is aluminium, I don't know. But overall the device is plasticky, but it's got a soft touch. It's not prone to fingerprints, so keep that in mind. Oh, I forgot to mention, here we can see the headphone jack, and it's a combo jack with microphone and headphone support. And one thing to say is, this is a power cord. It's pretty slim, and it's a little bit heavy, but it's 230 watts, so this is to expect. And one negative thing is that this cord is making some noises because it's not fully to push in, and then it will make some electric noise. So push it in really hard, and this will be no problem, but just to mention. So I'll demonstrate you the sound system with a YouTube video. And so let's start.
Every once in a long while, a game comes along that is so memorable, exciting, fresh, and well written that it sets a new high watermark for an entire genre.
and this is at 40%, mind you. And when we turn it up to 60, it's pretty loud. It's a lot louder than the fan at auto, even at performance auto. And this was 60%. And I was very astounded about the sound system, because when I turned it on, it was at around 60%, and it was louder than my old Asus Stuff 15. So I tested with 100%. Wrong button. So we'll test it at 100%.
Into a beautiful, detailed world, stocked with too many
and it's very, very loud, so I have to speak louder too.
Characters to count.
The answer was to try. The outcome was to fail.
There are heart-wrenching
and the sound system is very, very good. Here there is a little overshoot at higher sound levels. So 80% is a very good compromise, I guess. And this was even with the loudness on 40% at YouTube. And now 100% loudness.
And a vast diversity of interesting, challenging turn-based combat encounters. I didn't merely enjoy my 130 plus hours on this journey. I fell in love.
So, pretty good speakers, but because it's overshooting a little bit, 60 to 80% is enough, I guess. So this was at 80% and now at 100%.
One issue video games have often run into when trying to adapt the experience of playing Dungeons & Dragons on the tabletop is that it's almost impossible to achieve the freedom and imagination you get.
So, very decent sound system. So we are at the desktop of the device, and I've made a few benchmarks. So let's start with 3D Mark on balance and on the 780M iGPU. So this is the iGPU of the AMD processor. It's got a decent 2240 in time SPI. CPU score is at 7500. It's a little bit lower than compared with testings with the discrete GPU. Maybe it's because the processor is heated up by the iGPU during the benchmark, so the CPU score is a little bit lower. So yeah. Next up is 3D Mark balance with auto fans and the RTX 4060 here, and with the balance profile, it's got 9,865 points, graphic points, and a CPU score of 9,000 approximately. And yeah, let's go beyond that. With the performance profile and the auto fans, we got 10,398 points and 9,000 CPU points, which is pretty decent. And with the manual fans and the performance profile, we got 10,369 points on the GPU and only 7,600 on the CPU. This is because the fan is controlled by the GPU temperature. I'll show you. For that, we go in the Omen app. And here we maybe we can, no, we can't change it to English. So I'll translate. So here are our performance control center. And this is a balance profile. This is a performance profile. We can tune the fans here. We can set it to max. And on max settings, the fans are pretty loud, but they're not annoying. Yeah, and we can turn it on auto. And on the balance profile, the fan speed is pretty low. It's not unhearable, but it's not annoying too. Yeah. But when we turn it to performance, the auto fans will turn up to the maximum fan speed, but the operating temperature is pretty low. It's around 75 degrees C. And on the GPU and 80 degrees C on the CPU. And one cool thing is that we can turn it to manual. And here we can adjust the fan curve and with this toggle. And we can use the GPU, which is pretty cool. So for games, this is a go-to setting because the CPU is around 80 degrees. And this is cool enough for a good operating temperature. And when we use this GPU toggle, the fan profile is based on the GPU temperature. So for games, this will be the go-to. And yeah, so for the GPU profile, we got 80 degrees and 90% fan speed. And this will translate to 5,600 or so RPM, which is pretty loud, but it's not as loud as 6,300 RPM, and it's tolerable, so to say. So this is the Omen Center, what we got here. Here are our games that we own. We can use GeForce Now and so. And here is a shop, I guess, and the Slide Studio. We can change the RGB illumination, which is pretty cool. And with Gallery, we can set a pretty cool background for Windows. It's loading a little bit. And there got pretty decent backgrounds here. Optimization, yeah, I don't use optimization, so I can't say anything for it. With this thing, we can optimize the camera and the microphone. And yeah, here at the Omen 16 toggle, we got our metrics and so on. And with Shift F2, we can use an overlay. But this overlay is not very good because it's clickable. So when we activate it and we want to close this window, this is not working, for example. So in games where you move your mouse around, this is a no-go, so to say, because when we want to click a map or so on the screen, it won't work. For Baldur's Gate 3, it's a problem, for example. And yeah, what we got here is GPU toggle. We can use hybrid with Radeon GPU as the display output, and we can use discrete to use only the RTX 4060, which is a max switch, I guess. So when we toggle this on, we got a lot more option in the NVIDIA control panel. And yeah, this is it for the software part. I guess when you get the Omen 16 with Windows 11 pre-installed, you get a lot more software, but it will be bloatware, I guess. And yeah, so interesting things. We can tune the display in the Radeon control center, and I just adjusted the color temperature from 6500 to 6700, so it's a little bit bluisher on the output, and I've increased the contrast just a tad to 105 and the saturation to 110. The display itself is okay. It's nicely calibrated at the factory, but I like the colors a little bit more punchy, so I adjusted that. So yeah, let's continue with the benchmarks. Okay, so where did we stop? That was the performance auto fans. That was the performance profile with the manual fans. That is the auto profile with the iGPU, the performance profile, and auto fans. So with the performance profile, we got 8,252 CPU scores and 2,301 iGPU scores. And since this is an 7840HS CPU, the GPU performance of the iGPU is pretty nice. So, for example, you are on the go and want to play some emulation with some friends, maybe in a car or so. You might use the iGPU over the RTX 4060 GPU because the 4060 GPU is a little bit faster, pretty much faster, but it will consume a lot more power. So with the APU, you might increase your performance. You might increase your battery performance. That's important to say. And still have a decent frame rate. So this is Zelda with user running. And the iGPU is clocking at 2663 megahertz and using 49 watts with a GPU temperature of 59, and it's still managing 44 FPS with dynamic frame rate and on scale 1x, so it's actually 1080p. To compare it, the iGPU of the Asus TUF Gaming F15 from 2021 couldn't handle 540p with 25 FPS, so this is a real improvement on the iGPU side in the last few years. And the Asus TUF Gaming F15 got the 11800H CPU, so it's a pretty nice Intel CPU, also 8 core and 16 threads like this. And yeah, the iGPU performance very good. I will test the battery performance with the iGPU and emulation running, so stay tuned. And yeah, we will do the comparison, the tests in another video, so stay tuned. So this is Baldur's Gate 3, and this is the performance auto setting. This is clocking at 2505 megahertz and 76 C temperature and 97 watts. Keep that in mind because we got 104 FPS, but the problem is the fans are very loud. And let's continue. So this is with the performance out setting. Here's the performance setting, and the fans are on auto, and its fans are running at the highest possible RPM. But yeah, this will then keep the temperature at around 76 C, which is pretty good. So we got a little bit offset to play with concerning the temperatures. So yeah. And this is with the performance auto again. Okay, we just saw it. Yeah, fans are not annoying, but loud. So let's continue. Oh, and of course, I'll show you. I'll show you. Yeah, so okay, with balance setting, we got 95 FPS, and the GPU was clocking at 2200 megahertz. So with the performance profile, we got 300 more megahertz, and this is 105 FPS versus 95. So it's a pretty nice performance bump. And this is the performance order. And if we use a manual fan and stick it to the GPU, we got a little bit higher temperature, 82 C compared to 76 C. But the fans will be a lot better. It will use 5600 RPMs instead of 6200 RPMs. So this is pretty nice. We got a little bit thermal headroom, and yeah. So let's continue. I've got some Shadow of the Tomb Raider performance metrics. So this is the performance with RTX 4060. And we are getting 133 FPS in Shadow of the Tomb Raider 1080p Ultra with the performance profile, mind you. And how is this comparing to other results? So here we are at the same performance of a desktop, keep that in mind, RX 6650 XT, which is around $300 nowadays. And we are a little bit faster than a desktop RTX 4060, which is only 128 FPS. So this is a nice performance bump, and you have to keep in mind that the mobile RTX 4060 is around the same performance of the desktop 4060, and maybe a little bit faster. So what was a positive surprise? Below this is Radeon 7 that I previously owned, and the mobile RTX 4060 is a lot faster than the Radeon 7. So this is a nice performance. So the RTX 3080 mobile is just 7% faster, 7 FPS, sorry, faster than the RTX 4060 mobile, which is pretty nice. So this is the Shadow of the Tomb Raider RT Ray Tracing Ultra benchmark with the performance profile and the manual fans. It's got 89 FPS, which is pretty good. And with 89 FPS, it's very playable. And I'll show you a little bit of gameplay with Shadow of the Tomb Raider to show you the frame times, which are pretty good. And in game, we got 95 FPS and the highest boost clock of 2505. And the GPU temperature is at around 80 degrees with the performance profile and fan set to manual. And we'll look at it in a moment. First, I will show you some CPU benchmarks with Cinebench. Okay, so this is Cinebench R15, and we are getting 2443 Cinebench points with the balance profile on auto. And it's a pretty decent CPU, and it's clocking at around 4 gigahertz, which is pretty good for a mobile CPU. So let's continue. That is performance auto setting. So we are on performance profile and the fans are on auto. And we got 2559 Cinebench points, which is pretty good. And Cinebench R23 is at 15,518 points, which is pretty good. It's around Threadripper first generation performance. So we have in a laptop 8 cores, 16 threads, and this is performing like a desktop Threadripper with 16 cores and 32 threads from a few years ago. Pretty nice performance metric. So yep. Let's continue. This is with performance profile and auto fans, and it's getting even higher score of 15,768 points compared to 15,518 points on the auto fan on the balance profile. Excuse me. And yeah, pretty good performance. So what's this? And so just a step backwards. I am excuse because screenshots are not ordered. So I have to go back to Shadow of the Tomb Raider. So we got no, not Shadow of the Tomb Raider. The D mark, okay. Performance. If this is a little bit chaotic, please excuse, because I got no script actually. So time spy, performance, auto. No, that's wrong one. Performance, auto. Okay. So this is the time spy score, and let's compare it with other GPUs. So the time spy score of the RTX 4060. And yeah, we got 10,398 points in time spy. And it's around a desktop RTX 4060. It's a little bit faster than the RX 6700, which is also the desktop variant, and it's a pretty powerful GPU from AMD. And it's just a tad slower than the RTX 2080 Super, also the desktop version. So pretty cool performance. And let's start Shadow of the Tomb Raider. So this is a Shadow of the Tomb Raider. We'll continue the save game and we'll look at the frame time performance. This is with performance setting and fans on auto.
Ich muss da runter.
So the performance is pretty decent. We got around 80 FPS with Ray Tracing Ultra and 2500 MHz. And the GPU is cool at around 90 watts and 75 C. And the frame times are pretty good. So I hope you had fun and see you on another video. Bye bye. Bye.